Hey everyone, welcome to the Great Awakening Story, Season 2, Act 3. We are now entering the climactic action of Act 3. My name is Genevieve Akal. I am a mystic and a prophet, and I channel the Aeonic Mother, our Holy Mother, Sophia, Durga, her consciousness and where she's taking us, and I use story form to do that. And as I said, I'm a prophet. And I went back through, I said that in a very self-important way, I'm a prophet, which I am, and I'm just going to own that, because I went back through my videos earlier this year when I spoke to what she was telling me about where our story was beginning, the first act. And, I can't see too much, I don't know the details, but what I had said in those videos was that we were going to be choosing between the divine story and the controlled story in our season 2, in our story that would play out from April 2021 until April 2022 this year. That was the theme. That was the general theme for all of us in our lives. And I'd also plant within my process, and as an evolutionary artist, so I also do ceremonial art with the mother's energy to tell her story. And on the eclipses last year, myself and some women, we planted the new seed, the new story of creation in the earth. And it's always so wonderful to reach the third act and see how it played out in my personal life and how it's playing out on sort of the global story and in friends' lives. And we were when you go through the theme of a story, right? Divine, I want to pick the divine story over the controlled story. So we went through the kind of eye of Horus, the eye of the needle, to do that. But to go into that divine story, we really had to work through a lot of personal transformation. So the other aspect that had come up in the first act, my message from the mother was to build. What are we building? What are we building? We are the master builders, 2-2. What are we making? What does the new earth look like? Can we build the vision in each of our hearts, regardless of what the external world is saying, regardless of what fears we may have, right? So I go on my own personal journey, my own second act, to evolve into this. Right? I want to live the divine story and I want to build. But first we had to go through quite a lot of transformation. To get through the eye of the needle required us to shed a lot more density, right? So that we could get to that building phase. And I'd said at the beginning of the story that we were working with, this is the theme, the magician, right? Creating. And what I came to realize on my path this year in this story is that the magician doesn't create externally or push externally. The magician, the pure and the highest form of the magician, the white magician, white magic, not white man, is creates from a place of clearing the internal. So the magician is not trying to force the external, and I found myself doing that a bit last year, trying to build something out of my own will, but there was still work for me to do in here, right? So the true magician is always focused on the inner world and clearing that. And as the magician clears that, the external potential is offered to the magician. So the magician doesn't have to do anything external ever. The magician is just an internal positioning, especially from the heart center. Okay, and I'm gonna get a little more into this and what the mother Sophia has revealed to me around this. I'm just checking my notes because there's so much here, but we did so much good work and it felt like hard work as well, like December, it felt like this karmic shift had happened. Finally, the old skin had come off. Finally, we were able to emerge into this new thing. And it was tough, and I'm really proud of myself, and I'm proud of us as humanity for pushing through and doing the work of recovery, the work of transformation. And now, in the third Act Climactic Action, it feels like the director has arrived. It's like this beautiful Jupiter energy, this benefic energy is here. It's like fun again. I forgot what the fun felt like, the excitement. It's just been a lot of hard work. And we are rewarded right now with this elixir, pouring out the water on us of just like, because we made those choices, we did the transformational work, and now there's this energy here, and it's her. It's the Holy Mother, Jupiterian energy. And I don't know if anybody, this is what it feels like. It reminded me of back when I was studying theater at university, and you be rehearsing a show or something, and you're waiting, and all your acting friends, you're there, you're a little early for rehearsal, you're waiting in the the theater space, and you're all waiting for the director to arrive, the creator. Like I remember at varsity, for me it was Tamar. She was our playmaker and acting coach, a brilliant director. Or Leanne was the contemporary dance creator and choreographer. And there's this energy when the creative enters the room, the director. She walks through the door and everyone's like, she's here. And then she just starts organizing. Like, they've been brewing with their vision, and they come in and, the director's like, okay, all right, great. I want you two over there. You'll be playing this role and you'll be playing that. And I'm like, what? I'm playing Helena in Midsummer? I really thought I was more of a Hermia or Titania. Helena, I guess I can do Helena. We can do Helena, right? So there's this new energy came in where there was this kind of lull, this waiting, and it feels like she turned on. The mother turned on, came through the door, and so many things started to happen in my life personally. I got back and unexpected things opened. Little tribes open, new people open to me, and I was like, I'm being led in this direction to add my expertise here and help in this way, and do this kind of thing, which I do kind of dig. I never planned this for myself. It came unexpectedly, but I guess I can play this role. I kind of like this role. It's not what I thought, but it actually, when I really consider it, it really fits in with everything that I believe and my makeup. And I've just found this lovely, quick orchestration of tribes. I've met in the last 2 weeks. I've come back to my home now, Auroville in South India, and I've been here for a couple of years, and I have my beautiful friends that are with me and I've known for a while, but a whole new group of people have opened up to me. All these new energies have come in, a whole new, my tribe is developing and shifting, and I'm just like getting involved in things that I didn't expect, but are really, really fulfilling. And it feels like, I was saying to a friend the other day, like being back at university, there was this sense of like creative energy. Like one night I'd be reading like a long piece on capitalism and the system, and writing an essay about that, and the next day I'm in improv class and doing stuff with the drama kids, and there was like, there's a lot going on. It's seemingly like it's like this exciting youthful buzz again, and I feel like my whole routine has shifted. I feel like I'm just like often just hanging with friends, talking, things are just opening naturally. It's almost like we did all this preparation in choosing the divine story, and the divine story was a choice a lot of us made. Some of us haven't made that choice, but whatever. But that meant, okay, cool, so now you're going to become this magician, but I'm going to do the clearing inside you. We're going to shift you so that you can be more evolved internally. And now this new build energy has come in. So, 2022, 22 is the master builder number. And I'd called this as well in the first act. We are building now. The mother said we're building. This is a new story. This is a new creation. And she's going to be breaking the old foundations. And we're seeing this a lot now in the external world. I like to see sort of externally what's happening and go, yeah, I'm feeling this internally in my world, my microcosm of a world, and I'm seeing it on a larger scale in the global world, that the mother has now gone, yeah, the timing is right, let's break through. And people are standing up against sort of these oppressive systems, mandating systems, even in my own community, Auroville, which I believe truly is a microcosm of the world, and things happen in Auroville and then I see it play out in the world. So it's definitely a very powerful, energetic place in South India, and it's a very long story, but Auroville is a place of human unity that was established by the mother, Mira Alfasa, a woman, and Sri Aurobindo, and there are 3,000 or so Aurovillians, and they've developed forests, sustainable systems. It was a place they created to start a new way of governance. The mother foresaw that we would be reaching this place soon in the human collective consciousness, that our consciousness would be elevating, and she created a place where people could come and join this community and help evolve systems. So there's beautiful ways of education here. There's beautiful systems of sustainability and permaculture, new developments in economy, and it's obviously not perfect, it's messy, it's still human, but it's one of the only flames burning of self-governance in the world. Anyway, when I got back, sort of a governmental, it's a long story, I can't even break down all the details, but without authorization, a group of people kind of led by the government, or the secretariat that represents the central government, started to plow through the land and want to, lay down a road as quickly as possible, because there's this very sort of spiritual tourist track in India, and although it's a very sacred place, its government is still post-colonial and very concerned with more materialistic things and monetizing stuff. So all her residents here, not all of them, some of them just sat complacently, but a lot of them came together and resisted in different ways and held it off and managed to just by saying no, and this is the truth, it somehow staved it off. It's very interesting, because this is the thing about the divine story and the controlled story. Okay, the controlled story is spiraling now. The veils are coming off at a rapid rate, right? The apocalypse is lifting the veil. And we're all starting to see through how insane the controlled sort of global story is at the moment. And they scare us by telling us they're going to do things to us. But when we don't give in to what they say, and we say, no, we're not doing that, nothing happens, because that's the rules of the game. When we go through an earth elevation like this, they can only use scare tactics by saying things, right? But they can't do anything to us. So there is definitely this thing of realizing and walking in your divinity, knowing your authority as a daughter and a son of God. You are safe. You are allowed to. In fact, when you do, this excitement opens up for you, this new energy, this new creative force. The mother supports those who choose to create the higher story. If you stay in the program story, you're staying in a state of fear and a misunderstanding of your power in this realm. You don't understand your own power. Now, what had come as well about this last sort of third act climactic action that we're going through is, and what's key about the magician and what I'm learning for myself is a couple of weeks ago, it was a Monday, it might have been the 24th of January. There was this sort of pivotal point or the 18th, I'm not sure if it was the week before, but there was this pivotal point in the Auroville story. And I woke up in the middle of the night. It was actually 3 a.m. when I checked. And actually, let me just back up for a second. On that day, I'm driving back from yoga with my friend, Ramesh. I'm on the back of his motorbike and we're cruising. And we're coming back and we come along the road and I see a dead snake. We both see it. I'm like, just across the road. I'm like, she's dead. I never see dead snakes. I'm like, that's horrible. So we keep going and we come into a little bit further down the road, not too far. We see another one that's smashed and smeared across the road. I was like, another primal mother, just dead. This is so weird. Ramesh is like, yeah. I'm like, when do we ever see 2 dead snakes? And he was like, I don't know. I was like, you know what it is? It just came to me. Like, I'm like a child with my mysticism. I was like, it's because the snake is the primordial mother energy, It's easy to anthropomorphize and go, she's dead, what a shame, but she is death, she is life, she is all, and she immediately just let me know in that moment. I was like, this is because the old primordial creative realm is dead. That creative space is over. I was like, if we see a third snake, and I was like, and a new one is alive, there's a new mother snake and it's alive. And Ramesh was like, cool. He just chills while I'm like having my little like shamanic outbursts, and I'm like all pumped up and Jupiterian, like benefic. And we keep going down the road, and then as we're approaching my place, I'm not even kidding, we're coming up this dirt road and there's this huge deep black blue snake crossing the road. I was like squeezing her shoulders because I was riding bitch, and I was like, dude. So we like slow down the bike and I'm just looking at her. She's so beautiful, gorgeous. She was crossing the road. I was just like so overwhelmed with her appearing as the third snake and vindicating or proving the message. Right? Like I'd called it, and then literally a minute later she came across the road like that as the third snake, and she was alive, and I was just so in love with her, and she disappeared into the bush, and I was like, Amma, I love your new thing you're doing, I was just so excited, and I knew in the realm, again, things happen in the spirit, and then they start to play in the material, and people like me with this gifting or purpose, I can see into these spaces, and that's what that was. So this really excited me, right? And it's happening. I can feel it happening. It's actually generally just occurring, and I love that it's just her. She's doing it. Being a magician is just waiting for her to do it, anyway, so that night I get awoken at 3 a.m, and I feel immediately I'm at my stairwell just a few meters from my bed, and I feel these 3 dark entities coming up the stairwell. Archontic. I deal a lot with people that do black occult magic. I hold down the sacred higher spirit in those spaces. I intercede in those realms. Because black magic is out of the ego, and it's lesser, it's kind of stupid and lame, but I am submitted to the will of Brahma, God, Allah. Like I don't. So anyway, I get awoken into these spaces to do work like this sometimes, and I think there's other shamans and mystics in the world who also experience this. Anyway, so I feel these dark entities coming up the stairwell, and immediately I'm in this other dimensional space though, so it's like I become this, like my whole body becomes snake serpentine, like I become like her, and I move down my stairwell, and I'm just like I just like hiss out, like, and I push these dark things back with her strength, with her sovereignty, with her power, and then I kind of like wake up, and I realize the cats are going crazy, and I can feel this energy all around me, this darkness trying to close in. And then I felt her, the mother, with my mind, I was watching her do it, but also bringing it in with my own being. It's weird. She was just doing it. She created an Ouroboros around my house. She then created it around Auroville, around India, around the world. And it was this ring of protection of, yeah, this is me as the holy Aeonic mother. I want people to realize, like, we need to understand, I'm encountering a lot even in my own community here. We stand with truth, and we stand with what's right. And a lot of, well, not a lot, it's actually a small group came together to fight on behalf of the rest of the residents here, because they were brave enough to do it. The other residents were afraid of repercussions, afraid of losing visas, afraid of all the threats that the Secretariat was making and scaring them with. But there were other people who were not afraid, and they took action. And what happened? Nothing. Nothing happened, because they can't do anything. Because we have truth and a constitution on our side. And that is true for many other places in the world right now. Like, it's a test. These times are a test. And the shadow story is there to test whether you understand who you are. Because you can't ascend unless you even know who the hell you are. Do you realize that you're a daughter and son of God? And do you walk like that? Do you live like that? If you don't, then you stay in a very fearful programmed story. But the mother is shadow and light. So so it was interesting to observe in my own community the amount of people, even after the great victories that have come since the resistance has fought back and protected Auroville in the vision. It's been interesting to watch when the trolls come and they're like, I mean, for example, I won't go into the full detail, but the Resonance Assembly did actually take a vote, and 89% chose to stop all this bulldozing and for it to go through the proper process, and you can look more into that, but basically the majority came together and voted. I'm like, this is amazing, finally here's the vote. And still there are some people here who are like, they're trolls, the Secretariat's trolls, going, is this even a majority vote? Because even though this is a fact, this has been the biggest turnout for Auroville votes in years, but it's still, I think it was like 900 people, and Auroville has 3,000 residents. So it's not a massive amount, but it was massive for Auroville. And now they're trying to tell people that, the trolls are trying to tell people that, is it even a real vote? Is this even reliable? Is this majority, I don't know. They're trying to cast doubt in people's minds about whether this is even reliable. I'm like, of course it's reliable, because it went through the due process. Those who didn't turn up and cast their vote, that's their choice, because that's how voting works. But there are some Aurovillians who will go in a spiral of fear and freak out about whether this is true or not, and like, the trolls have got into my brain and are infecting me with a psychotic argument. It's like not even realistic. I'm like, are you genuinely even allowing this strange gaslighting argument to penetrate you? It's like, it's just fascinating to watch, even something so blatant as voting procedure. It's like, yeah, everything was done properly. It's the majority vote. That's how voting works. Like, to even argue with this kind of argument is insanity, and to allow it into your body and your headspace is insane. So, what I'm trying to say, wait, let me start a new one. So what I'm essentially trying to say here is, ties into the lesson that the mother gave me that night. I wake up and I feel the Ouroboros of protection going around us. I feel a lot of ascended masters around, and I'm just speaking into its protection over all of us. And as I'm in this space, I'm also experiencing surges of fear, because when you're dealing in that realm, there's things closing in. And I kept hearing, when Archangel Michael came down around me, it was like this definitive feeling of like just protection, like just like strong. And he was saying to me, look at your feeling center. You are here. And I was there in meditation doing the like sort of vision work. And he was like, check your feeling center. And I felt a little bit of anxiety and fear. And he was like, make sure that's love. So I kept going there and allowing that feeling of warmth to come up. You know that feeling of gratitude like this, when you're just like, dude, just love. You know, when that feeling comes up. Also, when I work with quantum energy and I'm reprogramming false core beliefs, before you even go into reprogramming, you calm down with the breath and you bring the feeling of gratitude up into the heart. This feeling. And as I felt that feeling, the darkness dissipates. It's not even there. It gets purified by love. Right? The love frequency is really strong. This frequency that I'm feeling right now, because I'm just like feeling it. And Archangel Michael was like, stay there. That's where it's at. That's how you stay in the dimension of the divine story. It's staying here. So I definitely know shamanically, and I know in my heart, and from the Aeonic Mother, she's done it. We're in the new Earth paradigm, and there are spiritually, and it's starting to happen now in the material. And she's putting the teams together. So the bifurcation is happening, not because of how she's now going, right, everyone's had their time, now I want you people over here, stage left, doing that, I want you guys over there, and I want you over there. So she's putting us into our tribes and into our missions, and we're finding this sort of, our purpose is fitting in with people, new communities, new energy, and it's kind of, we're enlivening each other and we're manifesting together because we both have the same visions and we both have the same desire for the higher story. And I'm finding that that's the bifurcation, meaning that like there's been some people in my life, acquaintances that are kind of it's okay when people are not like, when they're still quite shadowed and in a problematic space. It's just life. But I'm finding that I can't be even around them. You know, I try to, you know, broach a topic with them, and then if I get gaslit continuously and I'm like, I actually can't even go. I've dealt so much with this kind of energy in my past. I recovered from this. I'm not dealing with this anymore. So I felt myself, especially in January, even getting more fine-tuned with my relationships in my life. And I'm just like, I can't, it's not even like I'm trying to, it's just, I genuinely, my body won't allow me. She's like, I don't want to do that anymore. I can't even try with that person. And so that's the bifurcation, meaning like we're being gathered to our like minds, like energies, like hearts. And yeah, I mean, some of us are just in this higher earth mode, and wanting to give of ourselves and serve in that way, and be part of the play that she's creating, because it's so much fun. This energy is really fun. I'm so thankful for her coming in like this, and directing the show, you know. And I love that because it's taken the stress of the magician away. Like, she's the creator, right? She is the director of the story. We just have to, like I also said, this was an accompanying energy for the story of this year. We just have to be the empress, which is receive the new connection, say yes to it. Like, I was just finding like people come into my life and be like, are you able to do this? And I'm like, yeah, I'm absolutely able to do that. Actually, I think that would be really meaningful for me to do. Then I'd meet a new person. They would be so inspiring. Then I'm just like on this little track going, oh my God, like this is so exciting when I just say yes. And that's the first rule of improv, right? If you're on stage and you're in the play, say yes to what feels good, what feels right. Because right now, reality is quite genuinely like Play-Doh. And a good example of this, that I can kind of give you a personal story that makes it clear, is a lot of foreigners who got stuck in India have had visa issues, right? And it's funny how some of us who freak out, and like there's always a different story from the visa office. If you phone the Mumbai people, the Chennai people, it's always a different story about what should be done, right? So it's kind of malleable. And the people who freak out, they like, I need to get all my ducks in a row and I need to tick all my boxes like in the old way, and like the visa office said this, and if I don't do this they're going to charge me 50,000 and da 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 da. Then they literally have that experience. And the ones who are just kind of chill and figuring it out and not listening to certain stories are actually getting it done in another way entirely. It's weird. It's like certain rules are applying to some people and other rules are applying to other people. And I'm like, and there's all kinds of machinations in between. So it's kind of like the people who choose the fear story and keep going to it and creating it and like freaking out, literally have that experience. And those of us who are like, nah, I'm just going to resolve it like this. It gets resolved like that. It's literally not even a big deal. So it's the same thing that Archangel Michael was showing me. Oh, jeez, Bluey. Just caught a moth. No, he's got a gecko. Anyway, it's like if you live in the fear frequency, emotional frequency, so it's always in the emotions first. It's always the emotions first. Then the mind creates the stories. So always check in with the feeling center. I've always said, Descartes is dead, I think, therefore I am. No, the mind comes after I feel, therefore I am. Because when you don't notice an emotion, say you're in a fear state, your mind starts going because the emotion is there, an anxiety or a fear. So you don't notice that. So the mind starts going, oh, I'm really worried about my visa. They're going to charge me this. I better go check in with them. I better do this. I better do that. And then it literally starts happening, whatever your scenario is in life. Right? You start to actually manifest that story because that's how reality functions. It functions out of your body, your feeling center, your energy and motion, your emotional center. And your mind creates it. So if I keep checking in with my feeling center and making sure it's chill, it's calm, there's no charge, the mind is calm. The mind only goes when there's a charge in the feeling center. So when it's calm as well, then we're not making stories. We're not going down weird loops, right? So this is also, I think, a big thing about this third Act Climactic Action, and really honing in on, because in films and in stories, it's when the hero is now tested, right? And is really like, they've come through the toughness of the second act climax and the crisis, having a revelation, and now there's this action of like them truly embodying the new gift, embodying the new understanding. And they'll go, in a battle or quest film, they're in there with the sword, right? So this is the sword in us. It's like, but it's also this Jupiterian new energy that she's come up with. The mother, we're coming out of winter, she's alive again, she's moving, she's doing this. She's making it more easy for us to observe that, I've noticed. It's not like she's bringing that ability to us. And this excitement, she's bringing a beautiful excitement to her story. She's this living consciousness, right? She is everything. She's me. She's you. She's every living thing. She's this one consciousness experiencing itself through so-called separate beings, right? So she's doing this now. She's breaking the foundations. She's empowering people to take action and do, for example, in Canada, the mass protest, the trucking convoy, right, against mandates. This is the year. This is 2-2. This is the year of where these foundations break. And I prophesied this as well, where there's going to be a mass awakening this year. Just because that's what she's doing. So we just have to slot into the excitement of her play and her story. And there is an opposing archontic force that wants to keep us in a small story, in the matrix, in the programmed, controlled reality. And that's fear-based, right? Fear-based. Any anxiety, any gnarly emotion, that's their story. So the way you can check in what story you're living is what emotional state you're in. And her story is love-based, chill-based, centered, light, fun, excitement, even in the face of adversity. I found this when I got back to Auroville. There was a lot going on, but it was exciting me because I was like, finally, let's get going. You know, I was so happy that this fire had started in Auroville, because I knew it was going to echo out, and it's fun. And another thing I want to say about this as well, this third act, climactic action, and this thing she's doing. I love it. I love being directed. I'm like, oh my God, I love when the divinity just comes in and just starts directing the play. It's actually happening. It's on. It's actually on. It's go time. Is that okay, so we enter the year of the water tiger with the Chinese New Year, and I always like looking at Chinese New Year because I think the animals, I love animals and their representations, and the element is also very powerful, and it so ties in with what she's actually doing symbolically, right? So the tiger represents, in the Taoist system, the tiger is the yin, the primordial yin, and surrounding the yang center, right? And the dragon is the primordial yang surrounding the yin center. So it's a very powerful animal, very powerful. Every year, every animal is powerful, but the tiger is like real, and it's the mother. And the fact that we're in the year of the tiger means like she is on the move. She is doing it now. She's just, her vision, she's like, right, we're ready. She is like moving. She's like, I know where I'm going. I'm going in to kill that. Then we're going to be doing that. She is so clear. The way a tiger moves. You've seen a tiger hunt. Or a lion. You watch any big cat. Yeah. It's precision. It's absolutely beautiful. It's beautiful. I'm South African, so I grew up going to the bush a lot, and it's so beautiful. The power of a tiger. Oh, that power is incredible. And she's that this year. She's in us as that this year, and we ride that with her this year. She's doing it, so we don't even have to worry, because this is her story and she needs to elevate right now. So if there's a dark programmed situation scaring you, please let it go, because you are literally riding with the Aeonic Mother. She is in control of all of this, and this is the timing. So she's doing this now, so you can actually just release all that and have fun, because she loves creating. She loves creating. Co-creating with us is her favorite thing. So ride that energy. She is very precise, and you'll know when to move and where to go and who to meet and who not to meet. The tiger is very instinctive. So I'm just following. My heart is like become very loud. You know, when I'm dealing with people that I'm like, yeah, in reality, everything might look good on the surface, like they're saying all the right things, but I just know, I can feel, I'm like, this doesn't smell right. I don't think I'm going to go this way, because I'm listening to her, that in there, I know. So I go another way, or I just wait. Tiger waits. The tiger knows what's the timing. Then the mother will come, and then something else will open, and it will feel right, and it will be soft, and it will open nicely. And this is where the water comes in. If it feels like there's a block, like you have to push too hard, like it's not really gelling, leave it, let it push, let yourself flow around, wait. The water will move where it has to go. And the water is also feminine in its way, and it's also quite emotional, very emotional. And I do think that the rest of the story and some of 2022 and our new story that will come up is going to be quite emotional, because water is many different forms. It's vapor, it's mist, it's pounding, thrashing waterfalls, it's a calm, clear lake. It can take on so many expressions, yet it's all still water. And if we look at our bodies, we are water, right? Majority water. I'm going to take a sip of water right now. So allow any emotional expression, allow it to work itself through, because the tiger is also quite ferocious in its way, and we are now protecting a vision. We are now protecting the earth. We are now protecting our liberty, our divinity, and we might come up against things that make us really angry, things that are upsetting, things that are manipulative, things that we are allowed to respond to. Spirituality doesn't mean that you have to just be like total zen the whole time. I've been finding over the last few days that I'm having emotional responses to things, especially when I'm just like getting into like somebody's gaslighting me. I get angry because, when you go through a gaslight process, it's an emotional abuse. They keep moving the bar, they keep provoking and changing what you're saying, twisting what you're saying, and then you kind of like get heated, and then they like to go be like, oh, don't get angry. Why are you angry? I'm like, because of you, bitch. But then at the same time realizing, oh, why am I still in a drama, in a theater show with this person? Why do I still have to try? Why am I trying with this person? They don't get me. They don't treat me with respect. I'm royally gaslit, and then they condemn me for being angry, even though they bring me to this point because of their own sense of powerlessness. So it's like, okay, oh yeah, bye, I'm out. So there's a lot of that going on. The tiger being honest. The tiger is like ferocious. She doesn't take shit. So yeah, we are really going to be breaking through insidious levels of the patriarchy and the system this year, the insidious levels that are manipulative, the gaslighting levels of the system and relationships. And that's emotional at times. And we can feel calm one moment, we can feel like rushing water the next. It's okay. It's okay, because we're still water, we're still moving, and it's nature's force. And this whole story of having to appear neutral at all times or behave in a certain way is a lie. You actually need to let an emotion cycle through you, let it have its space, and learn from it. So don't go back into situations with people or places that actually brought that emotion out of you. But if you don't let the emotion come out, you don't learn why it happened. If you keep repressing, then you keep going into that space or that dynamic. But when it finally cycles through and out, then you're free of it. So, anyway, I've covered so many things in this video. Yeah, but it's Play-Doh. The reality is Play-Doh, and you are playing with it. So you can either be a conscious participant, and you are choosing the divine story, you're aware of your emotional center. Hey, not around all the plugs here, baby boy. This is Bluey. Look at this. Can you see his eyes? He's got one eye, one color. Oh, baby. One eye, another color. Anyway, so, yeah, like, if you choose to be an unconscious participant and live in fear, then you are manifesting that story. The manifestation is very quick now because she's doing that. So she's like, okay, I'm ready to unlock that power now in consciousness. That's how it's elevated. We've evolved to that. So yeah, be a conscious player in your own show. Choose according to the heart center. Follow that intuition, not what you see around you. And play, have fun. It's so much fun now. Like, I'm so excited. I'm so excited. I have so much vital energy, and I'm hearing this from friends as well. I'm like, there's a new vitality. There's a new vitality. There's a new energy. Like, it's all happening, you know. I'm like off doing that. My days are so full. I'm like doing so much, and this seems to be time for it. It's weird and it's lovely, and I'm loving the soul tribe that I'm getting to know, and deepening with friends that I've already had, and I'm allowing the bifurcation. Some things have had to be cut out of my life. She's got really fine-tuned, like I said earlier, with relationships and certain dynamics. Like, anything that does not feel good, anything that plays a game or manipulates or keeps you in a state of anxiety, otherwise that will be your play. Anyway, sending everyone all the love, and enjoy your third Act Climactic Action. I don't even know what's happening. I'm just going with it. It feels very much like climactic action. And I love that the Magician, when I knew that this was going to be the theme of our story this year, I love that now that we've reached the third act, I'm so stoked and tickled at how effortless it actually is to be the Magician. It felt like it would take effort before, when I said it in the first act. I hadn't gone through my own lessons, and now I'm just like, it's a total breeze. Yeah, totally chill. Let's rock. Like, finally. I've been waiting for this moment my whole life. Anyway, okay. Be well. You are sovereign. You are protected. Pick the higher story. Even if there's goons and monsters. Woo! No, you will be destroyed if you pick the higher story. You'll be destroyed. Don't you know you must stay in line? Do it. They disappear. Phantoms. Absolute phantoms. Phantoms.